Happy Friday. Welcome to the morning show. We are here excited, fired up, and getting things going today. I trust that your day has started out awesome, and we're getting things going. We're live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram. Just now got TikTok going because I forgot about them. And
forget about it.
And then we've got, of course,
I miss you too, Danielle.
Zoom. We got people in the comments already.
Yeah, we've got Mark Henderson. Glad the game got pushed back because I had no signal yesterday. TJ, good morning.
TJ, good morning.
And Danielle.
And Danielle. Well, what doth hinder thee?
Whoopsie.
TikTok going live.
Yes, we miss you too. We today is going to be an interesting little day. I'll be leaving a little earlier.
She's going to be exiting very abruptly.
I will be exiting very abruptly. So I have a nice little hair appointment.
It's a hair day.
Yeah, got to go to the salon. So yeah, that's always fun.
All right, I think we got it figured out. So since we had that internet outage thingy-mabobber,
yeah,
I've left the old router on, and I need just to go turn it off because the devices keep going to it, and there's no internet.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we had a we had a brownout. That just
do we know that?
Yeah, because everything turned on mildly, and then it was very vague that it turned on, and then it turned into a full-fledged blackout.
Well, the government said.
But I'm gonna tell you though, I would rather have a blackout over a brownout any day because they say brownouts are what's really bad for your equipment.
Electronicables.
Your refrigerator, anything plugged in that it can be detrimental.
It'll hurt you.
I love you. Lift up Jesus. Always, sweetie. Always. So, anyways, we've had a pretty good week this week. We've talked about community, the importance of it, and then I think we kind of landed on yourself, like, you know, trying to find your community. I think the best way you enter in a community is making sure that you're healthy enough to be a part of a community.
I agree because, like, you know, if you continue to have to go to community and there's something wrong with the community that you keep having to move around to, you could rest assured it's probably you.
Wow. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I just can't find it. Well, maybe you need to find what's going on with you, dog.
People here are trying to sue the power company, speaking of community. Wow.
What are they suing them for? Not providing power or something? Or I'm kind of curious about this one, Mark.
Yeah, that's electric.
I love a good scandal.
Sparks are going to fly on that one.
Oh. They better watch out. They might have some interruptions, if you know what I mean.
It might not be as enlightening as they hope.
Oh, we got puns for days, people. Puns for spoiled food. Ah.
Hey, listen, that's a big deal right now. Like, food's expensive.
Did you know that you can count that on a claim with your insurance?
Food?
So, you know, we had somebody look on our roof, and we've got some
we had a
damage.
tornado back in December.
Got some damages
Yeah.
that we're trying to see if we can't just go ahead and get everything taken care of. And so when I was on the phone with the claims department, they were asking, you know, all the stuff, you know, what kind of damage, what did you see, or whatever. You know, did you lose power? Did any food go bad? And I said, I don't think so. I said, can I claim food?
And you can.
And apparently you can.
Wow.
So I did not know that is a possibility. But you can actually
Rob?
claim food on a thing like that.
Just a little information. I don't know if you've been on here for a little bit or you're just now tuning in. You can claim food on your insurance.
This was not an advice from a professional.
Yeah,
this was just passing on a story. Disclaimer.
Oh, man.
Oh,
but anyways, back to the point. So, yeah, I've enjoyed this week.
Yeah.
Community.
Oh,
and
it's
yesterday
been fun.
we talked about, like, is your marriage a healthy community?
Like, that one was real in depth.
That was.
And we always kind of go there. It's probably because we're married and that's our lives, you know, it's what we do.
Let me tell you something. We got, you know, there's always somebody that's got more years, you know, than the next person.
Sure.
But we've got 13 years of marriage this year.
That's a decade.
October.
That's a decade and a third.
I'm telling you. But and I will say this: I never think to say, when we talk about marriage, I never think to say it's been difficult, but boy, it's been good. Like, why do people start with that? Have you noticed that people are like, "This has not been an easy journey, but it's worth it as long as you're my partner," you know, or like whatever it is. I'm like, my first reaction is, "It's been awesome," and then it's like, I mean, obviously you're going to be honest. You're human. You have ups and downs, but
I don't always like her, but
boy,
I always love her.
Boy, I'm bound to love her.
Oh my gosh. We just had Martinez pop in. Well, what's going on, brother man?
Yes, you can.
Just trying to stay out of the conversation, brother. Just trying to stay out of the conversation.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they would itemize
it's just
food.
too funny. It's just too funny, but you're right. It's like, you know, can't live without her.
Yeah.
But I've tried to.
Can't live without her. Oh, so I have to live with her, I guess.
I remember growing up listening to guys like where I work, you know, if you work in a restaurant or whatever, they would say like, yeah, my old woman, she done this and my old woman done that, you know, that kind of stuff. And I'm like, it's just a big old party of
poo-poo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A guy's like, man, you gotta watch him. You gotta watch. You know, it's just like, what idiots. I'm like, why would you marry somebody like that?
Yeah.
You know, why are you in a relationship like that? You know?
That's the key, though. That's the key. Is it all? What really saves the marriage is knowing the person before you marry them. You know, I mean, like that was I've told so many young people.
That's a pretty novel idea.
Yeah, like don't just marry him because you know I've legitimately I've told so many young people this scenario. I said I want you to know this person long enough to be honest about your flaws, every single flaw, right? And I said, and when it comes to marriage, you're gonna have to look at all the negatives, and you're gonna have to say, do I love that? Because somebody's going to have a weakness, right? Like everybody's going to have a weakness. You have your weakness, right? They might have, you know, they tend to have a pride problem, or they've struggled with a lust problem, or they've struggled with, you know, whatever it may be. But you guys should be close enough in your relationship, if you're talking marriage, that you discuss, hey, listen, this is my weak, this is where I struggle. And I said, you know, when it comes to that, you deserve to be a little selfish and think about, do I want to deal with that kind of struggle for the rest of my life? Because this is going to be a person I spend my life with. And they need to ask the same question about your struggles. And I said, and the truth is, you love each other in spite of those things. It's like, I don't even care. You know, I love you in spite of it. I'm going to walk with you through these things. And I know that it could potentially cause, you know, conflict and hurt, but I'm willing to do that with you. And when you feel that way, marry the person.
Choose your crazy.
Yeah, choose your crazy. You really do. I mean, because everybody's crazy. Everybody has their crazy. So, but anyways, that was yesterday's podcast.
Yeah.
That was yesterday's show. But
yeah, that was a little re-huddle.
Recap, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so today we're just summarizing community.
Yeah.
So.
What's been some of the highlights for you, Martinez? What's some of the stuff that you've like really enjoyed talking about? You know, sticks out in your mind?
Oh, well, you know, just the importance of community in general, and knowing like your role in community. Like for example, you know, like are you part of the community that adds value? Are you taken away from the community? Are you a leader in the community? Which I believe everybody has. If you care, you're a leader. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm not advocating little I's and big U's in the community. I'm just saying like you know, community, like it's the shaping of us all, you know. And if you don't have a community, then life can be kind of lonely in a way, you know. Mm-hmm. And so like the question is like, you know, who are you going to align yourself with? Like what value system, what principle are you going to align yourself with? Good or bad, there's a community out there for you just for that, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, what role do you play in it? You know, because you play a big role. You play a huge role. And your influence, good or bad, it's going to have an impact on the people who are trusting in you. Mm-hmm. You know, whether you're single or married or whatever, you know, it's going to have an impact on them. Right. So choose wisely. Choose wisely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, for me, I think the thing that we kind of talked about that really, I guess, stirs things up for me, because to your point, where you're at, figuring out, hey, what value are you adding? What value are you receiving? Right. The other thing is you're a part of multiple communities, absolutely. Multiple circles. And so like you could be like, there are some circles where I am intentionally there to be challenged. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like this isn't about necessarily we're not doing bowling league. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm challenged and I appreciate that. I don't need that other thing to be more than what it is. That's what it is. And vice versa on other things. Like there's some places where it's friendships, right? But I don't expect necessarily to, you know, in other words, there's a proper expectation of each circle and willing to just look at people and be like, man, I value you as a person and I value what our relationship looks like. I don't need you to be the Swiss Army knife of relationships. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you to be the end all there's just different arenas for different aspects of my life.
Well, you can't be. That's why you have a community.
That absolutely, it's impossible.
Literally, the community is to take the place of the feeling of needing to be a Swiss Army knife. Yeah,
absolutely.
I got a couple of things.
Nuggets, maybe. I don't know.
This is what a community should be. I don't care what community is. I don't care if it's your motorcycle community. I don't care if it's your go-kart community.
We don't belong to either one of those.
No, we don't. I don't care.
We cannot speak upon these, but
I don't care if it's your kid playground park community. I don't care what it is. Church community. I don't care. Okay? These are principles that I want you to remember when you go into communities.
Is this the formula?
No. Let me tell you something. Okay, I'm gonna get real honest.
Oh, dude.
Look, the formula is how to talk to people, and I don't know that it has much to do about community.
Well, then that's going to be a separate video.
Yeah, that'll be a separate.
There is a formula.
Does anybody on here struggle with? They don't really know how to talk to people, and what I mean by that is just carry on a good conversation with somebody. You don't know how to get that up and going, and if you don't, I can share that. Something that has worked for me for years and years in ministry.
Comes from an introvert that you would never know.
An extroverted introvert, right?
Never know.
It's something I've mastered. It's weird. I remember the last time you kissed me on the cheek. That's odd. No, but anyways, so here's the deal. Okay, formula for community. This is how you know this is a community that you need to be a part of, right? Relatability within the group, right? There's relatability. There's a common thread. Is your community life-giving? The opposite of life-giving would mean there's a damper. It brings death to your dreams or your motivation or your whatever. Is it inspiration, right? Is there an inspiring theme within your community? When you get with these people, do you feel like you can immediately, like instantly, pretty well find relatability, and it feels life-giving and it's inspirational, right? Do you feel inspired when you're with these people? And do you feel excited to get with these people? Okay, this is your community, and I'm excited to be a part of this community, right? To be excited means you have things you want to be on, you want to get on board with, right? I'm excited about this. And then here's the two last but most important things, all right? Is your community a group of people that are encouraging? Do you find encouragement within your community? And last but most importantly, is it positivity driven? So these are things that if you can check these off of your list around, and it's the group of people that you spend your time, the community that you're around. If you can say, yep, this check, yep, everything checks. Now I get it. I'm an extroverted introvert. I can't say excitement's always on the top of the list for anything, even things that I'm technically excited for, right? But still, you can feel excitement, right? Like when you're with people, you get pumped up. Like, I'm not talking about, boy, I can't wait to see them again. I mean, when we're together, there's excitement.
There's energy.
We're clicking, that kind of excitement.
I think there's energy here.
Absolutely. I love being a part of this community.
I love doing this.
Yeah. But let's flip the script, okay? Because I want you to walk into your communities and I want you to assess them, right? Because I'm going to do this too. I want you to assess them, and is this in my community? Because I think far too often we have communities of people, and we've talked about this, that our common interests tend to be our negativities, right? Like I have a community of overweight people because I'm overweight. And so we just get around and we talk about how overweight we are.
We're just going to sit around.
Yeah, talking about how, I have a community of moms that it's not that our common connection is our kids. It's actually that our common connection is that we just like to talk bad about our circumstances. We love our kids, but we find camaraderie in our negativities. Yeah. And I'm not saying this might be your situation. I have witnessed those situations, and if it is, I want you to ask yourself, and then I want you to really evaluate, is this a community I want to be a part of?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here's the thing. I don't want you to walk in there, because I don't want to do this either. I'm not saying walk in and say, I'm going to evaluate this community.
Oh, yeah.
And if it is not to these check boxes, I am leaving. No,
we're done.
Here's what I challenge you to. If this is lacking in your community, then you need to be the one to bring relatability. You need to be the one that your conversations are life-giving. You need to work on the fact that your attitude and your way you communicate with people is inspirational and there is excitement. You need to make sure that you're speaking of things that are encouraging, and you need to make sure that you are talking in a positive way. So if your community is something that it's like, boy, these boxes don't check, then be the person to change the way the community functions. Because there are certain communities you're not going to walk away from, right?
Right.
I'm not walking away from this community, right?
Hey-o.
Listen, I ain't walking away from my church community. My local church is my local church. I ain't walking away from that, right? But I'm going to see to it that when I walk into my community, I want to make sure there is something we can relate on, right? We can all relate on salvation and needing it. We can all relate on the fact that we need energy that's life-giving and inspirational and excitement.
Well,
we can be encouraging and, most importantly, positive.
Well, think about think about that. Like you said, the house, you're not leaving your household.
Be the catalyst, exactly.
Yeah, you're not leaving your faith community. You're not leaving. I would argue you're probably not leaving your work community, especially if you own it.
Hey, I'm not leaving my work community.
You're not leaving your neighborhood unless you can, change your environment literally, like physically. You're not changing your extended family. Like the people that are in your life. It's so the truth is, can you be that change?
When you make up in your mind, like a marriage, I'm in this.
Yeah.
I'm in this with you, so we might as well make this better, right? Like if we're in this, if we're not going anywhere, then the first thing you're going to do is you're going to say, all right, well let's figure out let's figure out a way to flourish. So if you decide that this community, this is my community, right? Like this is my church, right? Like this is my marriage, this is my job. Like I'm in this, so I want to be somebody that is an agent of positivity. I'm not saying get in there and say, we're going to change this thing around. No, that's not going to go over real good. These are other people that are just as intelligent, just as smart, and just as busy as you. But you need to go in there, and this goes back to inspirational and excitement and encouraging. That's how you get things going. It's the vocabulary that's like, hey, I want to make sure I'm life-giving. And I'm not spitting death on something. But I also want to make sure that when I do talk, it's an inspiration. You know what an inspiration means? That means if I say something and you go, oh my God, yes. And you know what else we could do? You know what's happening? I'm inspiring you.
Right.
And by inspiring, by that conversation, it sparks excitement. If you go in there feeling like, all right, I'm going to control all this and it ain't going to go over. And these boxes won't get checked.
You know what's interesting? I've been listening to a guy, and he talks about how to, talk about, it's really a sales thing. He talks about it. He said, people don't like to be convinced. They like to be persuaded.
Absolutely.
But there's a point to that. There's a point I'm about to make. He said, people don't make decisions based on you wanting them to make the decision. They make the decision based on them wanting to make that decision. And he said, so the quantum move for moving an idea, a product, whatever, is not to convince anyone to do anything, but to create an environment where people feel like doing the thing.
That's excitement.
They see to be the obvious next best thing.
Inspiration equals synergy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
exactly.
think about that. To your point, can you create an environment where, because I've been in those environments. I've walked into play. I'll tell you this. You can tell it in a sports arena. Like you can walk into,
feel that
you can
energy.
feel I'm just saying even pickup. You can tell, is this a place where everyone is competitive
TikTok's going
and everyone's going to be, could get into a fight here. You know what I'm saying? This is just not going to be a safe place versus coming to a place where it's like, dude, we want to have fun.
Yeah.
That's one thing I know I bring them up, but it's just my life because it's a great lesson learned. I appreciate the fact that when people start being like, man, that's a foul. Man, hey, we're good.
Yeah.
Play ball. We're not going to do that because it's your way. Because it's funny, we're all on a clock.
Yeah.
Dude, we got to be out of here and go to work. We're trying to get some exercise and have some fun. I don't care. I get it. You called the foul. We'll give it to you. Let's play.
Yeah, but at that point, is the objective more important than the community itself? Because objectives will come and go, but the community,
Right, exactly.
you're left
I don't want to be that guy that like, oh, it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna play ball with him.
And I say
He's
this
gonna call my foul.
Sometimes, though, I mean, like, we don't always get this right? And that's the beauty.
Oh, sure, you're gonna make a bad call.
Yeah,
the analogy.
It's the beauty of people in the sense that, like, we're not perfect people. We're gonna have off days. We're gonna have bad days. We're gonna have frustrations.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at our community and we're gonna see things that, boy, this is inconsistent, or boy, this is, I'd like to see this. But that's gonna happen, and that's okay. But my point being, this goes back. We always talk about our own self, because at the end of the day, I can't change anybody else. I want to feel joy in my life. I want to appreciate who I am, and I want to be confident enough with what I offer that I can bring it to the table with confidence, right? So that's the only way I can do things is fixing what's going on here. And so
what Brooklyn used to say, you worry about yourself.
Yeah, worry about yourself. No, but it always tends to circle back to ourselves. Yeah. But these things are just ways to ask yourself, hey, am I doing these things to create this atmosphere within my community that is life-giving, that is inspirational, that is positive, that is encouraging? You know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that are so important, because I will say, and we've purposely worked on this in our marriage community, where those are things we think about even when we're dealing with conflict. I think these principles get bigger.
I'll be honest with you. I'm glad that you brought, like, number one, I think that's like a cool blog.
You're welcome.
But you're welcome. But you're exactly right, because I mean, these things, just about any relationship, any friendship, any team, any organization. I think that's awesome.
Conflict.
Okay.
I need to relate to the other person's perspective. Mm-hmm. So relatability, right? We're going to have to find common ground, right? To get to peace, right? I need to make sure that in my anger, still the words I speak, they are not down-putting or off-putting. Right. Like, I'm not going to go for your weaknesses, and I'm not going to attack, I'm not going to go for the jugular and,
Thank you for
start,
not doing that.
Right? Like, that's awful. So I'm not going to be disrespectful or unloving, right? It's life-giving. I want to make sure that I inspire the idea of getting to peace. Yeah. Not that I'm right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
I don't care at this point. I just want peace, and I want to inspire peace, and I want to be excited to get to the point where this is no longer an argument. And I also want to encourage you where you are, and I want to be positive.
Well, okay. I'm not saying this right. Mm-hmm. Martinez, you might know this one. I've heard somebody say this, and I can't, but like in marriage, do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy, or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm talking about. You know.
Well, I will say
you
this.
know that you know that you know.
It's never.
But it don't matter.
Yeah. It's never just one person wrong.
Just walk away.
Yeah. Tell me when it's ever been one person wrong.
Oh, it's never.
You know what
it's
I'm saying?
Never that.
There's always something that you could apologize for. There's always 5%, 10% you could apologize for. And so that's why, like, even if we have had an argument and you come to the table and you're like, hey, that was really wrong of me. I'm really sorry.
Well,
my
okay.
first reaction is, I didn't handle it the greatest either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like the feeling of, yep, that's right, I'm right. I don't want that feeling. I'm not perfect either. I appreciate your humility and your...
But don't pull a Michael Scott where you... Remember when
yeah,
Jim told Michael to go in there, I'm just the worst person ever, and everyone's like...
Yeah, like,
too much, Michael, too much.
Yeah. But to that point, though, I mean, if you feel like, I always want to be right, that... Like, you really need to evaluate yourself. That you've got there's a toxic trait that I believe you're capable of getting rid of. But right now, But right now, it's there.
Oh yeah, like
not you, but
no, but no. I'm saying here's what I say about that. Like, and this is the truth. Nobody likes being wrong. Mm-mm. So the worst thing that you can do in a conversation is make them wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in fact, if you want to be truthful, that's why a lot of people, to your point, when you start bringing some of the stuff you're talking about to a circle, I want you to be prepared for some resistance. Because when you embrace a new reality, right? You get on a weight loss journey. You start reading books and learning. You go to school and you try to finish your education. When you start doing things that are better for you, inevitably you're going to have some pushback, because by you doing something that's good, that's not reflected in the group, it could give them the feeling that they are now being made wrong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I don't know if anyone's ever thought of it that way, but like when you have like a hard anti-position, what you're actually doing is you're creating an instant adversity, because your new thing is a threat to the community. It's a threat to what, like you said, the commonality.
Yep.
You want to do that? Why would you want to do that? Why are you, why are you the way that you are?
Yeah, but then you have to evaluate that.
Do you get it, Martinez? Why are you the way that you are?
You have to evaluate your statement. Why are you doing that? Okay, is that statement life-giving, and is it encouraging?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
These aren't
That's
just
good. That's a good example.
These aren't community guidelines as much as they are how to deal with people.
That's what this is.
This is how to.
This is community guidelines.
This is how to talk to people too. This is is the thing. Are the things coming out of my mouth? Are they relatable, or is all I'm talking about myself?
That's a good point.
Are they life-giving? Meaning I'm not spewing death to something, right? Like I'm not. Talking about, did you see so-and-so? Did you like, seriously, are you really going to wear that in here? Is that life-giving? I don't think it is. Are you talking, is what you're saying inspirational? Like what I'm saying will inspire a reaction, and to inspire is a positive reaction inevitably. It's really a reiteration of positivity, but positivity is so important, you should double it.
What you guys are sharing is fantastic, and it's like the principle, or the formula, the is it life-giving, reliable, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It actually, in my opinion, it speaks on the good side of a good community. But I was just thinking, oh my goodness, is it possible? Like, for example, just talking this past week, I see community on the good side, and there's also community that speaks to the base level of you, which you kind of like pointed out, like that community that speaks to your isms or your insecurities, and so like my thinking is like, and each and every one of us are faced with it. I mean, like whatever, like society kind of like. Whatever the flavor of the week is, a month of, as it relates to what's going on in the news, there's that community that kind of like inspires like some of the base level issues that we all deal with.
Yeah.
And so, like whether it's like, not that I deal with alcohol, but like if you're, there's a community that supports you being an alcoholic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's also a community out there that supports you, like, not being addicted to alcohol. Right. And so my point is, like, my question is, my point is, one, there's communities that will speak to both sides of you, but like, it's like, okay, well, how do you know, like, how do you know, like the very things you're sharing actually could be used for negative community as well? Oh, we're relatable. Well, I don't like people. They don't like people either. You know what I mean? They don't like cats. I don't like cats either. You know what I mean? Like, like they inspire me.
You got a mouse problem.
I kicked the cat today. I kicked the cat today.
Yeah, that's right.
Like,
you don't like cats? You got a mouse problem.
That's right. it's like, you got a cat issue, it's like, you know what? I don't like cats either. Cats just get on my nerves. They meow too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, and someone's like, well, you know what? They meow to me too much too.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I mean? I don't like cats. We don't like cats. Anyway, I'm just saying, like,
I know
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Where, like, where whoever you are, like, where, like, you could go either way. It's like, it's really comes back to that individual, I guess, like, what are you looking for in community,
Yeah.
Because whatever it is out there for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, guys, this is the end for me. I have to go get my hair done, but I just
Why don't you hop on the Zoom?
I could, yeah, I
Of
could.
course.
Well, there's gonna be kids screaming.
That's okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
This is a
If you
family show.
If I'm there, I'm there. If I'm not, I'm not.
I
but
must understand.
I put in the comments these guidelines. I want you to write them down and really think about the way you communicate within your community. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the weekend, so I think it'd be cool if when you hook up with your church community, you really evaluate these things and you ask yourself, is this the predominant vibe in my community? If it's not, I would encourage you to be an agent of change, to be the catalyst that says this needs to be what's in our environment, because you're not going to leave your church community, right? You're not going to leave your marriage. You're not going to leave your job. I mean, I guess you could, but the problem is if you don't like the community that you're in and then you leave, chances are you might be the problem. So you're probably going to find that problem within another community. So I think when you're in something and there is negativity, but you become the agent of change for positivity, there's two things that are going to happen. Either your community is going to get better for it, right? And you're going to see, there was an energy of positivity, or there was an energy of negativity, and God used me as an agent of change. Because when you speak positivity and you are doing it, especially in your local church, there is a power of authority that comes with that, because God is the agent of positivity, and the power of life and death is in the tongue. God's going to back up your strength in trying to bring that positive energy. I believe that. So either you can't change your community for the better, they just kind of want to be stuck where they are. It's a win-win to not just walk away from your community, but be a part of the change, because it might just be the case where, I can't. This is actually not going to happen. But you're going to walk away a better person. You're going to walk away as an agent of change.
Right.
A positive change. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win. Take this.
Double W.
Yeah, take it. I'm gonna go get my hair done, and when I talk to my hair guy, I'm gonna make sure I'm life-giving. I'm gonna make sure it's encouraging and exciting and positive, right? I'm gonna do all this. I'm gonna totally apply this to every conversation I have. I just,
You should set a tripod in front of the hair dryer.
Yeah.
And just.
I don't know that anybody wants to see that. Like, he sections my hair off, and I look a little bit like Edward Scissorhands.
Does anybody even know what she's talking about? That's an old movie.
But the hair.
That's all I'm saying, right?
I love you guys so much. Keep talking.
All right, keep talking. I'm gonna move. You could slide this.
Talk about the formula.
The formula. Y'all, Brittany's gonna have to bring the formula. But like, for real, Martinez, I guess it's Manly Friday. It's Fellas Friday. Fellas Friday. Let's see here. I'm going to go to some of these comments because, man, things started blowing up. Yes, Catalyst. Yes. TJ said, invest in your communities by giving the best part of you, especially understanding. You know what? I like that, TJ. I've never really thought of that. But the best gift that I can give to the people around me is the best version of myself.
Absolutely.
I've never thought of that. Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah. Well, while she was talking about all the formulas and things and that kind of stuff, and if your community is not where it needs to be, then be the agent of change. And I said to myself, the only way, a good start to being an agent of change is don't be a complainer. Be a person walking around with gratitude. Be thankful. Just, be, because that in and inspirational. That in and of itself
Right.
is it can catch things afire. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
you know, there's a saying: a rising tide lifts all boats. Well, you know,
That's good.
you could be the tide. You know what I mean? You could be the
Right.
that tide that lifts all boats by just coming in with a smile on your face and being thankful and grateful and refusing to complain. I've done that. Go through a day without complaining or being critical or something like that. If you're gonna do it, you have to be very intentional, and it's kind of challenging sometimes, because you're invited. You get invitations to complain and be critical by
Anywhere.
Not job, you know what I mean? Or think you're flat tire or something like that, or being. But anyway, that's a great saying by TJ. Be the best version of yourself.
Now,
and I wonder what that really looks like. But because the best version of yourself is more than just, hey, speaking a positive word. I think the best version of yourself is actually starts with, examining every layer of your life, every layer of your being, spiritually, physically, soul, mentally, and saying, okay, I refuse to, sit on the sidelines. I refuse to kind of be dormant in any area of my life, and I want to be better in every situation to everybody, something to that nature. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, in other words, being the best version of yourself is not, in my opinion, just like, hey, have a nice day. I'm glad you're here. Speaking of, I think speaking a kind word to people is good.
Yeah.
But the best version of yourself, it's not eating a fish just for the day. It's teaching you to fish for a lifetime that you might eat for a lifetime,
Well, to your point, there's almost this level of, like, what I'm kind of hearing you say and thinking about is there is a level, not just your best self, your highest self. So what I mean by that is, like, there's what I do, which is very, like, base level, you know what I'm saying? My activities, so to speak. But then there's not just what I do, how I do it. Can you sense how I do a thing? You know what I'm saying? Can I be a unifier, bringing people together? Can I say things in such a way, to Brittany's point, that you're inspired by what we're talking about? Okay. And then even beyond that, not just the what I do, how I do, but why I do it. Can I be so much of a person that I am dripping purpose into the community to where it could be felt? Like, I don't like I want to brag on you for a second, because you just said something about what you try to do. And I know you try to do it, and I know you're intentional about doing it, because honest to God, every time I see you, you are set on a destiny of abundance, happiness, positivity. Like I can just tell you've weaved that into your character. Now, I'm not naive enough to think Martinez is just got the perfect life. I know better. I know that you've got stuff. I'm sure things going right. Somebody did kick that cat that you don't like, as Zig Ziglar would say. Like, things are happening, but you have chosen not to bring me your lowest self. You have chosen to say, these things are irrelevant. This is who I am. These are just the things that are happening around me, but who I am, I'm going to make sure that those things don't invade the space, and I'm going to bleed through who I am. And when that happens, it inspires people, it motivates people, and it causes a shift in an environment. And now all of a sudden, to the point I made earlier, the environment makes people feel like doing better. They feel like, I don't even know why, but man, I feel it. I feel this. This is fantastic. This is, I don't know what it is about, what's happening, but I love it.
Well, and I tell you, I appreciate what you just shared regarding me. I wish Robbie was here so she could listen to that, But
it's being recorded. It's on record.
Right. I got to record it.
It's Fellas Friday.
but I tell you what, what you're trying to do on the positive side or be the highest you, it can be draining if you're not putting yourself in the right community. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it's not sustainable. Sometimes you might feel like it's not sustainable. And I choose, thank God, God's led me to the right communities as it relates to Point of Mercy and friends and stuff like that. But like people like yourself, people like Brittany, people like Pastor Lip, people like Brad, whoever, the men's fellowship, all that. My goodness, are you kidding me? Like that in and of itself, it's like, being around that community, it's actually like putting, flaming the what is it? Is it flaming the
fanning the fire?
Yeah,
fanning the flame, fanning the fire.
My tooth is hard to get it out.
Oh God, I cannot wait till we get this worked out to where you're on the screen, because Marty, dude, that was great. Oh, that's a memory for me, not you all. So,
but in all truth, it goes with anything. Whatever your drive or your passion or your desire to be better, wherever you want to start, it helps to be in a community where you can see likeness or being inspired because there's people across the room or sitting across the table that think and act, that have the same motive, the same desire.
Mm-hmm.
And then because I can tell you, there's been, if I had a nickel for every time I heard someone, like even that message you preached a couple of Wednesdays ago or a couple of Sundays ago about in Exodus, and that inspired me to read the book of Exodus. I'm like, I gotta get back into Exodus. That's a good book.
There's some stuff in here, man.
Right. And so all I'm trying to say is, like, if I had a nickel for every time I looked at somebody or heard someone say something that's like, oh my God, I need to do better. I need to consider doing this. I need to take it up another level. You know what I mean? It's like, when you want to be the version of your better self, what happens is the environment, the atmosphere, starts sending you opportunity, to kind of uncover and discover ways to get that done. You know what I mean?
It's almost like a gravitational force. You know what I'm saying? You just said it. There's a part of you that's like, man, I love being around these people. But the truth of the matter is, you're being drawn. You're being drawn in, and you can't help but be affected by the pull and being drawn closer. Like you just said, now all of a sudden, I want to do better. But guess what? Somebody's saying the same thing about you. Somebody's being drawn to you. Like, dude, that Martinez guy's got me fired up. I got to do better with my health. My money, I got to get it. You see what I'm like? Right. It's the perpetual pulling. It's the perpetual reaching and pulling, right?
Right.
But you didn't, nobody forced you. Nobody pushed you, but you were pulled.
Right. And I got to shut up because I know you got a lot of comments that
No, go on, talk on. I know we got, but
on TJ's comment, but I was just thinking, that's why it's so important. When you said draw or drawn, there's something about your inherent self that is attracted to whatever you're feeding, whatever you want to be, give attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's so important to kind of guard your mind, guard your heart, and also be particular about who you give your time and attention to, because you might find yourself being inspired in a way that is not even you. just too many instances where people find themselves not living their best life
Mm-hmm.
and find themselves like on the bed of regret, you know, and they want to know, how did I get there? And it's because, you know, there something took over. They were drawn to a community that they didn't even know that was who they were, you know? And so it's like, that's why you have to guard. You have to, like, because the power of being drawn is so, it's hypnotic. You
Right.
know, in a lot of ways, you know? And so, yeah, being the best part of you, showing up with your best self, it has something to do with your ability to guard and then say no to other things that might be out there. You know what I mean? That might not be.
Your spot. So I'm just thinking. Okay, to your point, you said this. You talked about learning the good and the bad of community, right? We're hacking how to, have meaningful relationships and kind of steer around other ones, and to protect. Okay, so think about this drawing. Like, this planet has a gravity field, right?
Right.
It draw, and I'm not a science. So if I'm saying this wrong, for all you, science majors, just chill, okay? But just follow me for a second. It pulls us to something solid, this planet. Right? And there's life on this planet, right? I'm drawn to this place that has life. Now, consequently, and in direct opposition, a black hole has a gravitational pull. A black hole will suck you in. And
absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
I love where you're going.
Are you being drawn into something that's stable for you? Or are you being drawn into the result of an explosion and you're about to get sucked in yourself?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a great analogy. I love that.
Like,
that's wonderful. And like, the thing about it is, like, in a lot of ways, if you get too close to one or the other, you're not going to even have the power to pull away. Like, it's really like that
get caught.
Yeah, right. Mess around and get caught, as my mom would say. Mess around and get caught.
Is that what she used to say?
I bet you won't.
I bet
you won't mess around and get caught. But the thing about it is, like, it's you're right. There's like that the black hole, the devil's triangle. You know what I mean? It's that, like, you can go to some places and not be heard of again. You know what I mean? You can be, and so it's kind of like, you need to guard yourself. You need to like be mindful of what gravitational pull that you're doing, and this is why it's so important. In a way, my mind's going elsewhere, but how we need to guard our children's hearts and minds. The young people that don't have the capacity to discern and have that discretion, but even adults. I mean, like, again, like, who living your best life? What does that look like? But too many people are sitting there like, man, I'm 30, 40 years old, man. I never would have thought I would be here at this time in my life. Oh, me, wow, I'm in debt.
Right.
I'm over, whatever your issue is.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? What gravitational pull did you, allow yourself to be, attracted to, or have an appetite for? You know what I mean? Because thankfully we have the capacity to pull ourselves out of the black hole if we just raise our hand and get help or whatever. But anyway, not to take it in a different way, the discussion in a different way, but like, it's important. It's just important to be mindful of the people, the community that you allow yourself and your family to be subject to. And I would suggest the first family is the family of your own faculties, your mind, your heart, your spirit, your limbs. that family. Take care of it first.
Right.
Make sure it's not being exposed to the wrong community, you know, because like you know, as the mind goes, so the body goes, so to speak. You know.
Right.
So,
Well, pardon me, coffee went down the wrong way. But you're like, if you think about it, have you ever heard, which by the way, I did have a brand new comment that's come in that caught my eye. Mark Henderson said, we like to blame stuff on issues, but most of the time it's you. And that more times than not is true. Like I find myself even be like, you know what? I think I had something to do with this. Even if I didn't, I just want to go ahead and own it, because if I own it, I control it.
Well, first of all, tell Mark that's offensive.
I'm going to tell on Mark, because Mark didn't make his bed the other day. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. He totally did. He had texted me the other day when we took off for Brittany's birthday, and he said, man, I got so upset about y'all not being online, I didn't make my bed. Oh my gosh. But like, you ever heard of this concept, a thought leader?
Yeah.
Well, to me, I think that like it goes back to, what is a thought leader? A thought leader is somebody that has tapped into their not just best self, their highest self, and they have learned to convey a message in such a way that it unifies, organizes, and inspires people to take his idea, her idea, and make it their own idea. And if I want to be like transparent, I think that's kind of a part of the DNA of like what we do here, is we're having these ideas to try and find the better us, because good, better, best never rest till your good is better, better is best. But the best is tomorrow. I can't, my best is not today, because that means I'm resting. My better is today. I'm always living in better, assuming that tomorrow will be my best because I got there, but it's a moving target. And the idea about these conversations are, what if we had the kind of ideas, the kind of self-discoveries, the kind of growth personally that helped us to begin to promote ideas that change communities, that inspire new communities?
Yeah, I love that, and I know I'm going to butcher this, but you know the power of ideas to inspire ideas, new ideas of best self. You know, I've heard someone say, like, you know, something about small people. Like, small people talk about like people, or some people talk about rumor. Some people rumor, those are bad people. And some people are mediocre people, or something like they talk about issues with people, but you know, great people talk about ideas. You know, or you know, it's like
right. There's some kind of like a stair step. Yeah,
a stair climbing about your growth, or your the kind of a metric to determine where you are as far as fulfilling your greatest self, or greatest ideas of yourself, you know? And so, like, you know, go ahead, I got to get this door.
No, you're fine, and I love what you're saying. By the way, it is 9:00 because we're going to go ahead and start wrapping things up. But you're exactly right. Like, there is a level of, you know, I am consumed. Well, I tell you what, think about this. Jesus said, don't be concerned about what you'll eat. In other words, don't be consumed with the ideas that are at this lower level. These things that, you know, if I would do it for the birds, why wouldn't I do it for you? Like, that's a low level activity. That's a low level idea. I want you thinking about the highest idea, and that's the kingdom of God. I want you thinking about who I've made you to be, and who I am in relation to you. Those are high ideas and high concepts, because as I relate more to who I am based upon who He has made me, I can begin to transition and live out my fullest life. I'm going to eat today. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to eat today. I'm not like thank you. I know that that's not everyone's situation, but I will tell you this, more people than not, especially here in this country, that's really not a problem. It really is. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's an annoyance about, you know, my God, food's going up and da. But let me ask you this. I'm going to get in trouble. And because I don't mean it, but I'm telling you the things that I've thought myself, because I went on I want to say it was only 28 days. 28 days. Some of y'all know this. I got so inspired when I lost my weight back in 2020. I lost like 30 pounds going on a program that I wanted to learn how I did it, why it worked. And so I got my certified professional training license.
That's awesome.
And I just wanted to know. So then I'm learning this stuff and I'm like, okay, bet. Let's see if this stuff works. So for 28 days, I followed the math based on what they said about why what I did worked. I redid it. Okay. But here's the secret. Here's the deal. It caused me to confine my calories. Okay. Because at the end of the day, energy is calories. Calories is what determines what you're storing, not storing. And what ended up happening was over 28 days of monitoring my protein input and my calorie intake and my exercise exertion, I maintained my weight, but I increased my arms by 1/2 inch and I decreased my waist by 1 inch.
That's awesome.
But here's the whole point I'm trying to say about this. What I discovered was when I actually started doing the math, I did not need as much food as I was consuming. I was listening to my lower self of cravings, not actually making a logical, intellectual decision to say, okay, based on this, this is way too much. Like this is a good, but it's going to hinder me from eating what would be better for me later. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this instead.
Jason, so going back to what you're saying as far as Jesus saying, hey, don't be mindful of what the bird, or what you're going to eat or whatever, that kind of stuff. I got you, And so in a way, in light of your experiment and you being intentional and learning that you didn't need all the food or calories that you were taking in, it's almost saying like, well, God said, don't be concerned about that. Well, it's almost like your findings show that we have made it more of a priority. In other words, we've actually, made it our focal point to worry about what we're going to eat, and as a result, we are eating too much, and we've misaligned our principles of living, or we've misaligned our direction of what we should be concerned about, and as a result, because we focus more on the things that God said, hey, don't think about that, don't worry about it, and we've made it in a sense that our bellies are our God, and which then has consequences associated with that. Overweight, chronic illnesses and that kind of stuff like that. But the thing about it is, what I hear you saying is like, if you pull back, I mean, we're, like you said, we're in a country where we don't have to worry about where our next meal is going to come from. But yet, that's the very thing that we're doing. We're over prioritizing eating.
Well, sorry, because you excite. See, you're inspiring me. You're following the community guidelines. Because here was the other thing. I heard a mentor tell me one time, when you start doing one thing, it affects the next thing. Okay? Because here was the correlation. I didn't need as much, therefore I didn't have to purchase as much. So I said I didn't need as much food, therefore I didn't have to purchase as much food, because the principle of all, like, because it goes back to this, man, I've got to have this, but it costs this, and do you really need that? But man, I've got to have this time with people, and I got to have this time at my job. I got to have, it's a time problem. Well, how are you spending your time? Like, I'm just simply saying we can all get better, but you don't get better in getting caught. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You don't get better by being caught in the negative pool. I got to find myself going in the direction that I want to go. I got to find myself getting pulled by where I'm trying to go to something solid. And it can't be because I'm consumed with material things, right? Because the whole point of all of that, you can have a craving for a food just like you can have a craving for a purchase. Amazon is great at whetting your appetite for shopping. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Entertainment.
Absolutely.
Oh, I've got to watch this show. Dude, I heard a multimillionaire say if you're not making $50,000 a month, you don't have time for TV. And it just slapped me in the face. I was like, this dude gets something that I have not gotten yet. And he's a man conservative. Like, this is not like some guy that, I mean, he, from what I can tell, great time with his family, great, does Bible studies. And think about that. He said, you don't have time for TV. And I'm like,
that right there.
That wrecked me, bro. That wrecked me.
That's wrecking me.
I was driving, I went, oh God, gotta get back on. Gotta get a book while I'm reading.
I'm telling you, there's a formula that I think God has given us, and we have allowed the powers that be to persuade us otherwise of the formula for success or getting things done or having a life of abundance. Mm-hmm. And, and I love it. It is it could be food, it's entertainment or whatever, but or purchases or whatever. But the base level, you're feeding too much of it. You're giving too much energy and attention to that.
Right.
And mind you, it's taken away from the energy of the better you, the ideals of you, mm-hmm. the what can be's of you.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that's everything. That right there will preach. Right there, I would think, I mean, because that experiment you did, on yourself, and guess what, some people would like to say, hey, I want to do better, I want to be better, and that kind of stuff, but a lot of this stuff don't come by wishing. Somebody's going to have to sit down with a pen and paper mm-hmm. and be intentional.
Right.
Somebody's going to have to dot an I and cross teeth, because guess what? We spent a whole life, just doing it any way we want, or having a life of unintentionality.
Right.
And so, and not to beat up on anybody, but my goodness, come on.
I don't need to beat up anybody. I'm doing a good job. I'm like Jim Carrey on Liar Liar. I'm kicking my own butt. Right. Like, and that's the whole point. I'm like, I know that if I get better, people around me are going to get better. It's just inevitable. Mark said, hey, TV it's a time robber. He said, don't get me wrong. I do it too. But man, if we had that time back, that's what I'm saying. Like, when he said that to me, I'm like, psst, I was going to watch the new Stranger Things, but apparently I can't afford to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess I'll just have to hear about how good it was,
Yeah, bro. Like, I know a guy who he's a super successful businessman, and I remember growing up in high school or whatever, and I would just ask him about TV shows and stuff like that, and he would never know. He couldn't.
What are you talking about?
On TV. Yeah, he couldn't tell you what the Tennessee Vols were doing or whatever, that kind of stuff like that. But look, today like he is an ultra successful businessman. You know what I mean? And like he's a great role model, mentor, and everything. But anyway, it goes back to your point. Like when you live in a life of intentionality, you don't have time for the diet that the world puts on your plate. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just like you know, wait a minute. What's this Netflix? What you know? What do you call it when you watch about 10 shows at one time?
Binge.
Binging, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that kind of stuff. You don't have time. Oh, you're just saying, oh, I gotta go. It's going out of business. Who gives a rat's fart? It doesn't align with where
Rat's
you're
fart. Yes, that's the best thing ever.
You know, when you want to present your better self, when you want to be the agent of change in your community, you know, which by the way, it's not like you want to be the agent of change in your community. If you're walking around, by the way, saying I want to be the agent of change in my community, you're putting the cart before the horse. What you need to do is like work on yourself being better, and then you naturally, like you start dripping purpose in your life. You know what I mean? As you mentioned, but yeah, it's like, you know, when you become intentional, when you become, you know, what's the word, like intoxicated by being better, you really don't have time for TV. Which, by the way, you know, like, you know, I'm with Mark. I've watched too much TV.
That's what I'm saying. This is not like, this is not, this is,
right. I mean, I've seen all the Marvel movies, you know what I mean? Like, and would watch them again. I watched Game of Thrones. I've seen all of it, you know what I mean? Bad on me. I wouldn't even make him $1,000 a month.
Oh my gosh.
What am I thinking? What am I?
By the way, Mark wants you to get on Twitter and tweet the rat's fart comment, because that's just social media gold. We don't give a rat's fart about this. Like, I think you should have that on your renters agreements. Things that we don't give a rat's fart about. The inability to pay on time. Oh my gosh. This is Rat's Fart Friday, dude. This is awesome. We're 15 minutes over. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. But what a great week. I've really enjoyed this. Let me just say this. The community that's being built here on this show and in this, like, I have such a good time. And I leave so encouraged. This sets a pace for me getting out, like, into the world. Like, this is just, sorry, somebody called spam is trying to get a hold of me. And, you know, I love it. I appreciate this. And I'm going to go be a better me today. I'm going to go be a better me today. And, man, I always. That's right. Absolutely. And on that note, hey, all you fathers, happy Father's Day this week. Matter of fact, we got two big holidays. We got Father's Day and Juneteenth this weekend. So a very happy weekend there all the way around. If you're watching this and you don't have a church, you've never tried church is a new thing to you. If you're in the Middle Tennessee area, come to the Rivergate area called Point of Mercy. Great church there. It's a church me and Martinez and Brittany are a part of. It's been said multiple times to us just in the recent few weeks by some of our newest members and guests. The thing that they love about Point of Mercy is it's a community of people that actually love each other. And I would submit yes to that. It's a special place. We're not here to judge you. We just want to invite you in to make your own considerations. Make your own considerations. You know, it might not be for you, but I will tell you this: you'll leave knowing that you were treated well and you felt genuine love in that place. But if you're not in Middle Tennessee, you can still do the stream, which is online every Sunday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. Just find us on Facebook, YouTube as Point of Mercy, and would definitely love to have you a part. But Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday with a new topic, a new discussion. Monday, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll see you then.